My name is Brenda Duff. I'm 62 years old. I live on Social Security. I live in a one-room apartment because it's all I can afford. After I get $700 a month, around $700 a month, to live on. And by the time I pay my rent and my utilities, buy a little food, and pay the other bills that I have, and buy a little toilet paper and stuff, already it's the 9th of the month, and I have $100 left to get me through the rest of this month. When they talk about cutting Social Security, it really scares me because I can barely make it now. And I did work and pay taxes, and I should not have to spend my elderly years, scared to death of going hungry and being out on the streets. I think we could save a lot of waste in Medicare spending because I know they rent a lot of stuff that if they paid cash and bought it, it would be cheaper. I have sleep apnea and I use a CPAP machine, which is rented. I've been renting it for, the Medicare pays for it. It's been renting it for about 2 years now, and I will have to use it the rest of my life, which could be 20 or 25 more years. And so I don't understand why it's not being bought, why it's being rented. To me, that makes no sense at all. That's such a waste of money when they'll be paying for it probably 200 times what it would cost if they bought it. That, I think, is where the problem with Medicare comes in, with it being so expensive, because everything costs more than it should because it's rented. They rented a wheelchair for me twice. Both times it was rented, they rented it, and they could have bought 2 wheelchairs with what they rented it for 2 months. And so in 12 months they could have bought 6 wheelchairs, and all they did was rent them. That's just, to me, doesn't make sense. Doesn't make any common sense. If we don't do something, if our government doesn't step in and do something different, we're going to have a real problem. But they don't need to cut Social Security. They don't need to cut food stamps. They don't need to cut Medicare or Medicaid, because there are people like me that have lived their life. I'm 62 years old, and I have lived my life in this country, and I have paid taxes. And, it's not right for me to be without just because the government has got itself in such a mess.